There's a stillness in the early morning that you can't find anywhere else. And it's strange because it's not peaceful, right? Not exactly. It's more like the world is just giving you one last honest moment before it starts throwing the usual noise at you. I'm sitting here with my coffee and I'm looking around my living room, and something just keeps coming back to me. And it's something that I've had to learn the hard way and keep relearning. You're rarely going to feel like doing the thing that actually matters. You know, people talk about motivation like it's this magic force, right? Like it's supposed to show up and then carry them straight into discipline. But most mornings, you wake up with something else. Pressure and heaviness, like irritation, that weird haze that follows you from your dreams into your day. And that's when the question hits. Are you going to move based on what you feel? Or are you going to move based on what you decided yesterday? Because feelings, they don't give a shit about the man you're trying to become. They're not loyal to your future. No, feelings, they're only loyal to your comfort. Now, I've had mornings where everything in being said just told me, not today, don't push, just sit, just rest. And sometimes rest is the right call, sure. But most of the time, that voice isn't protecting you. No, that voice it's softening you. It's trying to taper down the edges that you're building up. And the older that I get, the more I realize that almost every worthwhile thing in a man's life gets built in the moments when, that you don't feel ready. You sit here, you stare at the floor for a second, you let the weight settle, but then you act. And it's not because it feels good to act, you do it because it's right. There's this misconception, right, that action has to follow emotion. That I'll move once I feel stronger, that I'll be disciplined once I feel focused. But the truth is, most of the time, the feelings only show up after the action. And that's if it shows up at all. I mean, you don't wait for clarity. You have to create it. And you can't wait for strength either. You just have to demonstrate it. It's like courage. You wait for courage, that's not going to come. You just have to behave in a way that's going to produce it. And this right here is where most men, they lose themselves. They treat their emotions like their commands. And instead of treating their emotions like their weather, like something that passes through the system but doesn't control the direction. Now, you can be angry and still choose patience. You can be exhausted and still choose to be consistent. Or you can even be unsure and still choose the next correct step. Nothing inside you has to feel perfect for your actions to be solid. And that idea changed my life. And I'm not saying it changed my life in this dramatic lightning strike kind of a way, but in a slow, unglamorous way, like sediment forming into stone. You start realizing, I don't need to wait for a better mindset, and I don't need to wait for inspiration, nor do I need to wait for the fog to clear. No, you just act now. You clear the fog by moving through it. And honestly, that's where a man finds himself. It's not in the hype, it's not in the emotion, but in those small internal battles that no one else knows are even happening. You ever have one of those days where you're just off, not broken or defeated. You're just off. Timing feels wrong. Your patience is thin, energy is low, and you're just not sharp. See, those are the days where your character, it gets tested quietly. And nobody's going to see it. Sure as hell, nobody's going to clap for it. Nobody else knows what it takes. But you know, because acting correctly when everything feels aligned, that's easy. I mean, a child can do that. But acting correctly when everything inside you is twisted sideways, well, that's where the backbone grows. You sit there, right where you are now, and your emotions, they're trying to negotiate. Just skip it, try later. You don't have to do it today. Your mindset isn't right. And you just have to answer with something simple. It doesn't matter. And you don't say that to yourself in a cold, dismissive way. You do it in a disciplined way, a steady way, a way that says, my actions aren't ruled by my mood. And that realization right there, that your emotions don't have authority over your behavior, that's the moment that you start taking ownership over your life. Because if you only act when you feel right, you're not going to get to act very often. And if you only speak truth when you're confident, well, your words are not really going to mean very much. And if you only stand firm when you feel strong, well, damn, man, you're probably going to fold when it counts. Consistency, it comes from identity. It doesn't come from your emotion. You act right because that's who you are, not because that's how you feel. You see, there's something calming about that for me. Something that feels grounding. It takes all the chaos inside your chest and it gives you one stable anchor. I do what's required. Even when I'm tired, when I'm unsure, when I'm irritated, anxious, heavy, right? Or hell, unmotivated. Especially then. See, a man earns his own respect through these choices that he makes. Just another thing I think we just don't talk about enough. Because you don't admire yourself for those easy victories. You admire yourself for the mornings where everything in you pulled the other way. And you just did the work anyway. And maybe not perfectly, definitely heroically, but you did the work and you did it steadily. That steady part, that's what lasts. Right action strengthens a man's spirit, even when his feelings are a mess. There's a moment somewhere in every day where life is going to give you a small window to step up. And nothing dramatic. It's just a small decision to do the correct thing instead of the convenient one. Take that window enough times and your life becomes unshakable. Man, I'm telling you, if you ignore it enough times, and your life becomes something that you hide from. This isn't about being emotionless. So don't get it wrong. It's just about being in command. Your emotions are allowed to exist, man, but they don't get a vote on your standards, and they don't get a veto on your commitments. They don't, okay? Don't let them choose the man that you become. Only you get to do that. And you only get to do that through action, not words or intentions, and sure as hell not your feelings. It's action. You sit here now, still morning, still quiet, and you realize something powerful. Every choice you make today can either reinforce who you want to be or weaken it. You don't need a perfect mindset. You need a consistent direction. Feel off? Well, act right. Feel nothing? Act right. Feel fired up? Act right. That's the whole thing. Simple. The sun's going to come up soon. Life will start moving. People are going to pull at you. Responsibilities are going to stack up. Your emotions, they're going to rise and fall like they always do. But your actions, those are yours. Those stay steady. Those actions define you. And the more that you practice acting correctly without waiting for the perfect feeling, the more dangerous you become to the parts of your life that used to control you. Make your decisions today from the man that you're building, not the feelings you woke up with. And the more that you sit with this idea, the more you notice something else, something quieter but sharp. Half the battles you face aren't loud. There are these tiny moments where you either follow your impulse or your intention. Those are your choices, right? The impulse is quick. It wants comfort, escape, maybe some delay. But attention is slower, it's steadier. But it actually leads you somewhere. Most men never pause long enough to see the difference. They treat both as the same voice inside. But I'm telling you, they're not. Impulse comes from whatever emotion is strongest in that moment, right? So intention, it comes from, well, who you've decided to become. Now those two, they're not always friends. Yeah. You might intend to build strength, but you feel tired. Or you might intend to speak the truth, but you feel too uneasy. Hell, you might intend to take leadership, but you're too damn unsure. Or you just want to improve your life, but you just feel unmotivated. That's the tension that every man lives with. It's not this dramatic war, it's just that steady tug of war inside yourself. And the strange part is that once you start acting from intention instead of that impulse, you begin to trust yourself in a way that most people don't ever get to experience. And that trust it's subtle. It doesn't show up as hype. It shows up as a steadiness, a kind of internal firmness that others can feel without ever mentioning it. You carry yourself different because you know you don't run from your own responsibilities. And we've all done that. And that's a rare thing now. Most men negotiate with themselves until nothing gets done. They will smooth talk their own standards down. They justify their own inconsistency, and then they wonder why their life feels flimsy. But when you start choosing the correct action, even when your feelings argue, you create a different kind of life. It's a life that doesn't collapse every time you wake up in a bad mood. It's a life that doesn't crumble when your emotions swing from left to right. No, it's a life that feels lived on purpose. And that purpose doesn't need fireworks. No, that life, it just needs choices. Simple ones, hard ones. Ones that no one else will see but you. There's a shift that happens when you take ownership of those moments. Your tone changes, your posture will change. Maybe you develop a deep sense of patience or your temper just gets quieter. That confidence you feel becomes this steady burn instead of a spike. You don't puff your chest out because you don't have to. You start becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to announce his strength to everyone in the truck, because it's the way you behave when no one's around. And then something else happens. Your emotions begin to respect you, and not in some mystical bullshit way, just in the sense that they stop being so chaotic. It really does happen. When you prove through action that you're in charge, your emotions slowly stop trying to bully you, because that's what they do. I mean, they show up still, sure, but they don't slam into you like they used to. It's not the same, because you've shown them who's leading. You see it in how you deal with stress. You see it in how you handle conflict, or how you respond to temptation and frustration and fatigue. Emotions are still going to speak, but they speak into a man who isn't swayed by every internal gust. And from that steadiness, life becomes clearer. Not because life itself gets easier, but because you become more stable. A stable man can handle chaos and can carry weight. A stable man can weather his own storms without losing his damn direction. And all of that, it comes from this simple discipline, taking the right action, especially when the wrong feeling is present. It's not glamorous or exciting. It sure isn't dramatic, but damn if it isn't just real and solid. Hell, it's consequential. Nothing is going to change a man faster than proving to himself that he can act correctly under pressure, even if that pressure is entirely internal. So as the morning unfolds and the world starts waking up around you, try to remember that you don't need the perfect emotion to live with purpose. You just need the courage to honor the standard that you set for yourself last night. That's it. That's it. So hold your own line. Do the work that's in front of you and behave in a way that strengthens who you are, not who your emotions want you to be in that moment. Because the man who governs himself in private, right, is going to walk into the world with a presence that you just can't fake. Because your feelings, when they argue, you have to answer with action. That's how you build a man you trust. All right, well, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Take whatever hit you hardest and carry it into the rest of the morning. Not as a quote or as a boost, but as a decision. Build the day off your standards, not your moods. Because if you can hold that line even for one day, you're already ahead of who you were yesterday. Now, I appreciate you guys being here with me in this early hour. We'll do it again soon. Until then, walk steady. Mean what you say, and act like the man that you're trying to become.